They didn't come after you because you were lost. They came because you were found, because your silence exposed their noise, because your presence made their schemes crack like glass under pressure. From the moment you stopped explaining yourself, you became a threat they couldn't decode, and now you terrify them, not with weapons, but with awareness, with clarity, with the kind of energy that doesn't beg to be seen. It demands that lies collapse in its presence. You see, they didn't want to destroy you. They wanted to drain you, confuse you, keep you circling the same cycles so you'd never discover what you really are. Because once you step into that truth, the game changes. Their mind games stop working, their distractions lose power, and their control dissolves. They call it arrogance, but it's just the truth finally standing up. You didn't ask for war, but they made the mistake of treating your peace like it was weakness, and now they're dealing with the consequence of underestimating someone who was built in chaos, not broken by it. So before we go deeper, do this right now. Like this video, subscribe, because every click, every share, every comment tells the system that the chosen are not backing down. You're not just here to survive. You're here to expose the lies, walk through the fire, and turn everything meant to break you into proof that you're unshakable. The power of being chosen isn't loud, it's lethal. It moves in silence, shatters illusions without warning, and haunts those who built their power on manipulation. Your rise isn't a mystery to them. It's a nightmare. You are the echo they tried to mute. And now, your presence is the consequence they never saw coming. Before moving ahead, let me pause and deeply thank those of you who've supported this mission through Super Thanks. Your support isn't just generosity, it's spiritual confirmation. It tells me you're not just receiving this message, you're aligned with it, walking in the same light, standing firm in a world that tried to dim your power. Because of you, this truth keeps reaching those who've been silently battling, silently rising, and silently becoming. If something in your soul feels this fire, if deep down you know you weren't chosen by accident but by design, take a quiet moment to affirm it. Comment 999 below, not for attention, but as a sacred signal, a personal declaration that you're in agreement with this shift, this war, this becoming, and you're ready. Number 1. Stop mistaking your silence for surrender. It's the setup before you detonate. Every share, every like, every comment you drop isn't just digital interaction, it's spiritual activation. It signals to the system that this message matters, that there are chosen ones out here who feel the shift, who've survived the silence, and who are finally ready to wake up to the truth of who they are. And if you're still here right now, listening, locked in, it's not by chance. There are no accidents when it comes to alignment. You were pulled into this space, into this exact moment, because something inside of you has been stirring. A quiet knowing, a fire you couldn't name, a disruption in your spirit while the rest of the world remains numb. This message didn't find you, you found it, because the energy in your bones has been calling out for clarity. And this is the confirmation you've been waiting for. You've always felt different, but couldn't explain why. You've always walked into rooms and felt energy shift, but never knew what that meant. You've been told you're too intense, too sensitive, too much, and started to believe that maybe something was wrong with you. But let's make this clear. Nothing is wrong with you. You've been chosen to carry what others run from, to hold truth so sharp it slices through illusions. You weren't picked to be palatable, you were picked to be powerful. And even on the days you felt broken, misunderstood, abandoned, your energy was still doing the work. Even when you cried in silence, you were still a mirror forcing others to see what they weren't ready to face. That's why they couldn't stand you. That's why they kept trying to dim your light with doubt and distractions. But the truth is, no one could break what was built in the dark. No one could stop what was forged in sacred silence. And that isolation, that loneliness you mistook as failure, it wasn't rejection, it was reconstruction. You were being pulled back not to be punished, but to be prepared. You don't get called into something this powerful without first being stripped of everything that would have cracked under the weight of it. You weren't late, you weren't lost, you were being calibrated. So now, chosen one, it's time to stop second-guessing your voice. Stop mourning who left. Stop questioning why it's been hard. You were selected to shift systems, not survive them. You were built to rise through what would break the average. Your pain wasn't a detour, it was the gate, and you walked through it. So let this be your reminder. You're not just watching this message, you are this message, a walking transmission of purpose, pressure, and prophecy, and your presence alone is proof that they couldn't stop the becoming. Not then, not now, not ever. Number 2. Don't misread the collapse. The fall was the climb in disguise. Chosen one, let's get something straight. What looked like your collapse was never the end. It was the camouflage, the decoy, the setup that kept your real elevation protected from eyes that didn't deserve to witness it. They thought you were falling. They laughed. They pointed. They celebrated. But what they didn't see was the shift beneath the surface. Because real elevation for the chosen ones, it doesn't happen with applause. It happens in silence, in shadows, in storms. They watched you lose things, people, opportunities, peace, and assumed you were done. But the universe never tears down what it doesn't plan to rebuild stronger. You weren't being destroyed, you were being deepened. You weren't off track, you were underground, rooting, stretching, becoming unshakable. While they were busy counting your losses, the system was building your launch pad. So stop looking back at the fall like it was failure. It wasn't. It was the hidden ladder to a level they'll never access. Pain wasn't the punishment, it was the blueprint. Rejection wasn't abandonment, it was redirection. And what cracked wasn't your identity, it was the illusion that you ever needed to be understood by people who can't even understand themselves. Number 3. Quit rushing the bloom. You're not buried, you're being rooted for impact. Stop trying to bloom before your roots are ready. You're not stuck, you're being planted. You're not buried, you're being built in silence. Chosen one, hear this with every part of your spirit. The delay is not denial, it's design. They told you time was running out, that you needed to shine now or be forgotten forever, but they don't understand the laws you operate under. You weren't made for speed, you were made for impact. See, everyone wants to be seen, but not everyone is built to withstand being seen. The universe won't rush what it's preparing to last. And you're being carved into something unshakable. While others rush to be noticed, you're being refined to be remembered. Rooted deep, so when the storm comes, and it will, you don't break, you anchor. You've felt hidden, isolated, overlooked. But that isolation, it's insulation. It's protection from noise, from pressure, from sabotage. Because real growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows, in the silence, in the soil. And when you rise, and you will rise, it won't be shallow or shaky. It'll be solid, undeniable, and irreversible. So breathe. Stop rushing your rise. You're not here to bloom fast. You're here to bloom right. This is not your breakdown. This is your root work. Get grounded. Stay patient. Because when it's time, no force will be able to ignore the harvest that came from your hidden season. And when they ask where you came from, you'll smile because they never saw the dirt that made you unstoppable. Number 4. Stop calling it pain. That's the power being born through you. Stop calling it pain. That's not pain. That's power fighting its way through your old identity. That tightness in your chest, that war in your spirit, that feeling like you're unraveling from the inside. It's not weakness. It's not failure. It's the shedding of everything you were never meant to carry into your next level. The real you is pushing through the noise, breaking out of the masks, and cracking the shell of who you had to become just to survive. This isn't a breakdown, it's activation, and it's going to cost you every illusion of safety you built while shrinking, the friendships that no longer feel aligned, the conversations that drain your soul, the patterns that once protected you but now poison your progress. All of it has to go. That's why it hurts. Not because you're breaking, but because you're birthing. Chosen ones don't transform with applause. We transform in silence, through tension, through spiritual contractions. And if you've been feeling the pressure, the isolation, the exhaustion, good. That's your signal that the old system can no longer hold you. That discomfort is divine. It's direction. It's proof that you've outgrown the place they thought you'd die in. You weren't made to stay the same. You were built to evolve. And this ache, this cracking open of everything familiar, that's the moment just before the fire turns into form. You're not falling apart. You're falling into alignment. So breathe. Don't run from the ache. Let it deliver the version of you that was never meant to stay hidden. Let it burn. Let it build. Let it birth the power you were always meant to walk in. Number 5. Don't chase elevation without cutting ties. The higher you go, the more you'll bleed. Chosen one, the climb doesn't just reveal your strength, it exposes your attachments. Everyone wants the breakthrough, but no one talks about the bleeding that comes with it. The truth is, you can't soar while dragging dead weight. And make no mistake, some of what you're holding on to isn't love, it's a leash. That friendship that suddenly feels off. That environment that keeps pulling you backward. That habit you keep justifying. These are not coincidences. They're assignments designed to anchor you where you're no longer meant to be. The higher you're called, the more precise the cut must be. You cannot carry expired versions of yourself into new elevation. What once felt like comfort will start to feel like suffocation. And that isn't you losing your way. That's your spirit outgrowing the limitations that once helped you survive. What used to feel like home will start to feel like a trap, and that's your confirmation. This next level won't just require strength, it'll require sacrifice, detachment, silence. Not everyone who clapped for you in public prayed for you in private. Not everyone you broke bread with can handle your breakthrough. So stop dragging old energy into sacred space. Your glow-up is not just physical, it's spiritual, and spirit doesn't lie. So if it hurts, let it. If it bleeds, let it. But don't go back to bandaging what was supposed to be cut off, because chosen one, this elevation won't wait. It's happening with or without your comfort. This time, rise light, rise clean, rise free. Number 6. Stop explaining the shift. Your silence is the proof you've become a threat. They don't need an explanation. They need to sit with the discomfort of not having access to your energy anymore. You've said enough. You've given enough. You've explained your heart, your vision, your silence, and still they chose to misunderstand you. So now, let them wonder. Because your shift didn't require a press release. It required a boundary. And that's exactly what you gave them. Your silence isn't shade, it's strategy. It's how chosen ones move when elevation begins to disturb everything shallow around them. See, they weren't ready for the version of you that doesn't argue, doesn't defend, doesn't entertain chaos just to be understood. And now that you've gone quiet, they feel it. That vacuum, that shift in the atmosphere when you leave a room, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that's power. and they don't know what to do with it. They're replaying old conversations, stalking your energy from a distance, whispering about your change because they can't confront the mirror you once held up for them. But you don't need to respond. You already outgrew the noise. You already evolved beyond the need to explain growth to people who refuse to grow. So hear this, chosen one, when silence becomes your language, maturity becomes your weapon. You no longer need the crowd, the clap, or the comfort. You are the shift, and that's what makes you dangerous. Number 7. Don't dodge the calling. Ignoring it will cost you more than obedience ever will. You can't outrun what you were born for. And the longer you delay it, the heavier it feels. The tension in your chest, that's not anxiety. That's spiritual resistance. That's your purpose knocking louder every time you pretend you didn't hear it. You weren't built for the background. You weren't called to fit in. You were wired to interrupt patterns, confront illusions, and pull people out of fake peace. But every time you choose comfort over the calling, it costs you. It drains your energy. It weakens your focus. It feeds the very fear that was sent to destroy your fire. That fear doesn't want you to move, because the moment you do, everything around you shifts. The moment you say yes to who you really are, fake connections collapse. Broken systems shake, and people who fed off your silence start to panic. They don't fear your voice because it's loud. They fear it because it's true. You've been trying to live a normal life with a supernatural assignment. That's why nothing feels fulfilling. That's why it all feels tight, confusing, suffocating. You weren't designed to walk in circles. You were designed to walk in purpose. You don't need more signs. You are the sign. So stop stalling. Stop waiting for permission. The cost of ignoring the calling isn't just your peace. It's your power, your clarity, your impact. Every second you hesitate, you hand over your legacy to fear. But the moment you obey the fire inside, you start shaking things that thought they had you trapped. You are not lost. You are late. And it's time to catch up to the version of you that's already awake, already chosen, already unstoppable. Number 8. Don't try to prove anything. Your becoming is the revenge they never saw coming. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to clear your name. You don't need to explain the storm you walked through just to be seen. That's not your job. Your job is to become, to evolve so far beyond the version they betrayed, the version they mocked, the version they thought would never recover, that you become unrecognizable. See, they wanted your downfall to be public. They were hoping you'd break loud, collapse messy, and beg for the same validation they secretly craved. But you didn't. You disappeared, and while they laughed, you rebuilt. While they talked, you transformed. And now your silence is the most terrifying sound they've ever heard. Because it means you don't need them, don't think of them, don't even operate in the same realm anymore. You're not in competition, you're in confirmation. The glow they see now, that's discipline. That's healing, that's spiritual revenge, without a single word spoken. Your evolution is what they never prepared for. They were ready to fight the old you, the reactive you, the wounded you. But this new version, this focused, elevated, untouchable version, it's a storm they can't predict and a force they can't stop. Number 9. Stop hoping it'll be easy. Real transformation burns before it builds. Chosen one, let's get this straight. This path was never supposed to feel comfortable. That ache in your chest, that chaos in your mind, that's not weakness, that's construction. You're being ripped out of your old shell, and yeah, it hurts. But pain is the first language of power. And every time you beg for it to get easier, you're asking the fire to go soft, when it's the fire that's building you. Transformation doesn't show up in soft winds and sunshine. It shows up in earthquakes. It rearranges everything, your thoughts, your circle, your identity. That confusion you're feeling, that's your old self trying to hold on while the new you is kicking the door in. The version of you you're becoming has no room for the lies you used to live with. You don't get to rise and stay the same. And you sure as hell don't get to ascend without being stripped. Your comfort zone will scream, your habits will fight back. But you've got to keep pushing, even when it's ugly, even when it's silent, even when no one's clapping. Because real chosen ones don't wait for it to feel good. They rise anyway, through the fire, through the pressure, through the purge. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. You're not breaking down, you're being rebuilt. And what comes out of this won't just survive, it'll lead. Number 10. Don't water down your presence. You weren't sent to comfort, you were sent to confront. You keep dimming your light to make others feel okay in their shadows. You keep softening your voice to protect the egos that were never built to hold the truth you carry. But let's get one thing clear. You weren't sent here to blend in. You weren't sent here to be digestible. You were sent to interrupt the comfort zone, to rattle the illusion, to confront what's been hidden in plain sight for too long. Chosen one, your presence is disruptive by design. Your aura alone makes liars stutter, manipulators sweat, and pretenders twitch. That's not accidental. That's impact. And still, you've been apologizing for it. Still, you've been watering it down like you're too much. But you're not too much. You're the exact dose of clarity this fogged-up world needs. And that's exactly why they tried to shrink you. You weren't chosen to soothe the system. You were chosen to shake it. And that means you can't keep shrinking for people who were never meant to walk with your level of truth. You are not here to make darkness feel cozy. You're here to flip the switch, even if the room isn't ready. So stop holding back. Stop explaining your energy. Stop dimming your frequency to be liked by the very people who fear your awakening. The ones who call you intimidating are the ones who can't manipulate you. Let them be uncomfortable. You weren't sent to comfort. You were sent to confront. And starting tonight, you walk like it. Number 11. Stop mourning. What rejected you, being hidden, was divine strategy, not delay. Chosen one, read this like your breakthrough depends on it, because it does. You keep replaying what walked away like it held your worth. You keep questioning why they left, why they ignored your energy, why you were overlooked when you gave nothing but truth. But here's the raw reality. What rejected you was never built to carry what you're about to become. They didn't see you because they weren't supposed to. Your presence would have convicted them, exposed them, and disrupted the shallow comfort they called connection. So the universe did what you couldn't. It hid you. Not because you were weak, not because you were late, but because your power was still sharpening. You were still being formed. And if they had access to you in that state, they would have poisoned what was meant to rise. Rejection wasn't a curse, it was strategy. Delay wasn't failure, it was divine insulation. The pain didn't mean you weren't chosen. It meant you were being prepared for what the unchosen can't touch. And now you're here, waking up, seeing it clearly. Those closed doors didn't block your path. They revealed your power. Stop mourning what couldn't handle you. Start becoming what can't be denied. Number 12. Don't wait to be chosen. You are the shift they've been praying wouldn't happen. Chosen one, let this hit you deep. You're not waiting to be discovered. You are the discovery. You're not here to be selected. You're the very disruption the world hoped would stay asleep. The moment you stopped begging for validation was the moment everything changed. Because truth doesn't wait to be approved. It moves. It speaks. It shifts the entire atmosphere just by being. The people who tried to dismiss you, ignore you, overlook you, They felt this power before you even believed in it. That unease they felt around you wasn't random, it was recognition. Even your silence exposed them, even your stillness shook them. And now they're watching you rise without their permission, terrified that you've finally realized the truth. You are the shift. They didn't fear your ambition, they feared your awakening. They feared the moment you'd stop shrinking to fit their comfort. That moment is now. So stop waiting for a sign. Stop thinking someone's going to come hand you your worth wrapped in applause. The universe already marked you. The system already tried to break you. You're still here, still unbroken, still becoming. And now that you're done waiting, they don't stand a chance. And as we come to the end of this message, let this truth settle into your spirit. You were never meant to be invited. You were meant to arrive, unapologetically, unshaken, unstoppable. This is the moment where you stop looking for proof and start becoming it. If this message hits something real inside you, show it. Like this video, subscribe to stay connected to this frequency, and drop "I am the shift" in the comments as your personal declaration. Not just for you, but for every silent storm you've survived. Your rise isn't coming, it's already happening.